Greetings, fellow citizens of Disneyland. Brickey here. It's time for the 13th hour. It's time to look back at this week in Disneyland news. Give me just a minute here to get everything all set up and hanging out with everybody, trying some different stuff here today. Oh, look at that. We've already got a chat going and everything. Ah, this is what it's like when you actually stream directly to YouTube. Awesome. The stream has already been dusted. Dusty Ray throwing over super chats before we even get going. How hilarious is that? Look at that. Oh, awesome. So cool to see the chat hanging out there. Let me just get everything all set up and we'll get started. If you're joining us some point in the future, the news always starts at 5 o'clock. And I also, once the video is over with, I put in chapters. So if there's a certain thing that we're talking about today that you want to dive into, you can easily just look in the description below after this is posted, and you can find everything that we get into this evening, or this afternoon, I should say. So I got to thank Dusty for those super chats, those not even live yet super chats. That's kind of funny. Want to say hello to everybody today, see how everybody's doing. Hello, Daphne. Believe in the Magic Sierra. Happy Fridays, Brickey and friends. Yes, we are back. Afternoon, everybody. Always like to use the first 5 minutes just to say hi and catch up with everybody. So then we can focus in on the details and we can really stay a focus on the news. And sort of an interesting cycle of news this week, right? We're kind of getting to this moment where, the news is kind of more rumors. It seems like this is kind of another quiet before hopefully a big storm is getting ready to hit us. Cute Latin guy says, greetings, fellow citizens of Disneyland. Appreciate that, although he typed it smoother than I did. See Jeff Pike over there. Megan. No, there's not another live stream at 5. Let's see here. Jeff Pike, I just added you over as a moderator to the channel so you can help me out today in case today's another day of getting called pube beard. That's what happened to me when I was over there at the DCA 20th anniversary, which was on Monday. What's up, Ryan? Good to see you, bud. Good to see Aaron. Sammy Land, thank you for those happy emojis. Happy to see all those. So this is what we're going to do today when we get started here at 5 minutes in. Hey, Laura Jean, how are you doing? Good to see you, friend. Johnny Blaze, who I met out at the park last Friday. Last Friday, I didn't do a news cycle because I was at the resort when the food came back, and the food coming back just felt so special. Brooks Engel dropping that 1313 super chat. I appreciate that so much. Finally set a reminder and made it to this live. So stoked. Enjoy a couple of rips on a Starbucks. Oh, well, I'll do that right now. No problem about that. Oh, I'm ripping one of these today. I added this to my morning. It's like a nitro caramel cold brew. What's up, Bruce? What's up, brother Breeze? Viking beard. Thank you very much. I take that as a compliment. You may have been trying to insult me, but Viking beard, that's high praise. I take that. Do we now refer to it as GFCD? GFC. Good Friday. Citizens of Disneyland? I'm not really sure what we're saying there, Raymond. Hey, Tommy Perez. What's up, buddy? Good to see you today. Hey, Veronica. Scary Gary. Big Starbucks energy. You know it. All right. Let's get going. Let's get ready to start our news cycle today. What's up, Andrew? How you doing, bud? Oh yeah, I threw a nitro. I just dumped a nitro right in my morning rip. So let's just get going. Hey, Anna B, what's up, everybody? Prince Aladdin. So nice to have royalty in the chat today. I don't care about your opinion. Disneyland is reopening on March 14th. Woo! Oh, I love that. Well, that's actually kind of what we're going to talk about today. One of the things I want to get into today is sort of myth busting Disneyland, because it is such a passionate thing. Oh, Astral Blaster Beewolf says, no, that's not an insult. Love your channel and pro Viking beard. So thank you very much for the Viking beard comment. It'd be more Viking if the wife would, agree to it. Laura Jean, are you sweet talking me? Are you trying to pull a Kenny P. Rocks on me? Starbucks opening on Monday. I'll be there Tuesday for the Trading Post opening. Can't wait to do that, and I'll drop a video for you guys over on Wednesday. Hey, Artie, you want to help me put together a gym this weekend at my house? That's what I thought. All right, I'll see you on Saturday. Okay, so let's get started today. This is what we're looking at. I thought it would be interesting before we get into our topics. There's been a lot of talk about day splitting, where the idea is Disneyland might actually take a 12-hour, or not a 12-hour, they would take a whole operational day. Typically, the park gets going from 9 to midnight. We'll use that as our test sample here. But from 9 to midnight, they run the park. And what would happen if they were to split that day up into two different portions? Something that would look like a 9 to 5 ticket and then maybe a 4 to 12 ticket. And Disneyland's very good at being able to bring in an after hours event and slowly like cycling over, this set of wristbands for that set of wristbands. It would be interesting to see if they went full split day, would there also be another more expensive ticket that just gives you the entire day? But I want to sort of break down why I don't think this could be the worst thing ever if a couple of things are to go along with it. For one, if the day splitting was something that they did in the first 100 days, I think the first 100 days is going to be a very interesting part of when Disneyland reopens. But if they were to do this in the first 100 days, this would theoretically, if they only did day splitting, would double capacity, which means twice as many reservations, which means twice as many odds for you and I. If they were to do a 3-tiered system, 2 half-day tickets and 1 full-day ticket, then it wouldn't double it, but it would definitely increase it. So if day splitting means more citizens of Disneyland get into the park, then I'm cool with it, and I will never be buying the 9 to 5 ticket. I'm a don't show up if you're not going to shut down type of guy. I haven't shut down in so long, I'm forgetting my catchphrase. But I also agree with this if it tends to be a cheaper price. Like, I love Disney, but they can do wrong in my mind. I don't think they're perfect. So if day splitting meant that you got a bit of a cheaper price, that's great. But if it's the same day price for half day event, that would be absolutely wild. I don't think that they would do that because, that's bad optics and, math. Everybody can do math. But this is where I think that a day splitting type of rig could be beneficial to us, the annual pass holders, and those that aren't annual pass holders. This is kind of where it pivots over to a lot of us here in Southern California. Artie says, give me that sunset pass. I love that. So if they were to do day splitting, this is how I see that it could benefit AP holders. Because there could, and this is like a really far out speculation, and I don't know that this would happen, but if day splitting was always a thing, you could potentially get a very affordable pass where not only could you not go there on some weekends, not only could you not go there the 2 weeks around Christmas, not only could you go there on holidays, but you would have a pass that would allow you a certain, like afternoons or mornings. That seems pretty far-fetched. That seems like a hard thing to track, and what do you really charge for that? But what ultimately, I think day pass or day splitting could be beneficial for AP holders. And let's work through the math here. You have a pass that gives you X amount of dates, right? And you didn't book a reservation for today, but you would really love to go down and rip the resort this afternoon. Well, what if you knew that after 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock, you could open your phone and see if there's any walk or standby access to the park? And why this would be great for APs is you could randomly just go to Disneyland. Hey, if the light's green on my phone, I'm going to go down to the park. I'm going to do it today. But this would also allow Disney to be like, okay, we're now at like 2 or 3 o'clock. Our park is at like 45% capacity or 60% capacity. We like to try to get to 75 or 80 every day. Why don't we go over to our digital system, unlock 10,000 day of reservations, and try to backfill the second half of our day? So if I knew that my pass gave me 6 reservations at a time in a 90-day window or whatever, but I could also just kind of pull out my phone randomly when I'm using the bathroom after lunch and be like, whoa, look at this. I got a key to get into the kingdom this afternoon. That's where I think possible impulsive visits could be a really, really great way to reward whatever pass system they have. And people have told me that I've been clickbaiting because I'm saying the term annual pass. I use the term annual pass so you know what in the hell I'm talking about. When it has a new name, I will officially use the new name. But I think right now, AP, everybody knows I'm not saying that the annual pass in the form that we know, the horribly designed card with the Fab Five on it, we know that that's not coming back, but that's the quickest way to have a conversation about where we think something that would return to normal would come back to us. So I'm going to cruise the chat over here and see what some of your thoughts are. And don't forget, if you're a Club 1313 member, you have a fast pass to the conversation over on our private Discord channel. Let's see here. Great A Drinker says, I feel like Tokyo does, or at least did, a similar method when they first reopened. Yeah, I remember hearing that this was sort of an Asian parks type of idea, which makes sense because the Asian parks, or just that culture in general, they're used to navigating large volumes of people into small spaces. And Disneyland, with California restrictions, is going to be a large amount of people and a even smaller space than we've ever known it before. Ryan says, well, they could do a tier splitting like they're doing at Tokyo Disney. Bracket the times for going in. Yeah, it could be an interesting transitional thing to get everybody over the hump. David Hollick on David, thanks for always commenting on the video, says, I, for one, would not even give a half-day ticket a second thought. It's all or nothing for me, and probably the majority of fans. A half-day would need to be under $90. Don't think it would work. I understand what you're saying. I think that we might need to readjust some of our expectations as we're trying to come into whatever normal feels like. I would opt for, if the price was right, I would take any Disneyland that you give me. But I really hope, and I can see, if you're from out of town and they try to offer you a half-day ticket, that's not a sweet deal, right? Like you've booked your travel time, you've taken your vacation days, you hired somebody to feed the pets. You're living down here, you're doing this. They definitely, I think, would have to have a 3-tier system where there's an all-day ticket and then the split-day tickets. But I get what you're saying, Dave, to each their own. Homemade, where did you go there? You just jumped away from me. Homemade Imagineering says, imagine Disney quality, the old Rainforest. I'd love them to expand. All right, you're talking about something different. I like to stay on focus here. So let's see here. Sounds like logic here. After lunch visits, let's go. I love that, Disney Diva. So there we go. That is the kind of what I'm thinking. Melissa says, day splitting idea seems to only benefit APs though. No, tourists definitely want a whole day. I definitely agree with you. A tourist wants a whole day. But here's where it gets interesting. There could be people that get priced, local people, AP people, they get priced out of whatever the new annual passes are. And then they just start to say, well, day splitting is a way to go to the park for under $100. And, we get to go down in an afternoon and rip the park. So it'll definitely be interesting. I think that I can only see it as a patch, right? Or I can only see it as a complement to what we all know as regular. I could never see it always being this way. So say a $30 3-hour window. Ryan, a $30 Disneyland ticket, I think, would be hazardous, even if it only was for 3 hours. David says out-of-towners would just have to be staying on premises to get the all-day tickets. Just a thought. Yeah, that could be a way for them to really reward those staying at the 3 different hotels on the grounds there. Crystal says, okay, so all right. So Great Drinker says the demand for Disney is so high right now. I really think that a lot of people are going to jump on tickets as soon as they're available, regardless of price and what the parameters are. I think you're right. I think a lot of people right now could be like, I'm not going to, come on, focus, Sony. Come on, Sony. What's with this? Super expensive camera that doesn't seem to like my face, and I don't blame it. But I could see a lot of people, and I'll do this slowly so I don't lose my camera. I don't like that. And then the day opens, and I'm like, well, it's what I can take. It's what I'll get. All right, so there's topic number 1 today. As you know, we are such a popular live stream with 76 live viewers that we have to run an ad from one of our sponsors. Be right back.
So yeah. It's all about fun this summer. Disneyland and Disney's California Adventure Parks.
So smile on your face. Disney's California Adventure. It's real cool. It's in your head. And in your words found. It's our favorite time again. And you're glad to be here.
Friends, fun summer. Hey, it's Disneyland.
There you go. Big ad from our sponsor. Greg BMX over on the Fast Pass for 1313 members says, any word on when Trading Post is opening up? Any early Legacy Pass access? Yes. So the Star Wars Trading Post, I believe it's opening up to the public at the end of next week. I just know that they're doing 3 days of previews that are starting on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I have a reservation for Tuesday. Don't try to show up and say you're me and steal it from me. I'll be dropping a video on Wednesday that shows how the entire interior of the store turned out. So yes, they did do a Legacy preview, and this is something that I dropped in one of my videos this week that I'll mention here. The best way to stay in touch with all the different things that they're offering Legacy annual pass holders is follow at Disneyland AP over on Twitter. Turn your notifications on. So every time they tweet, you will get a notification on your mobile device or on your computer. And normally a lot of those notifications are this thing is available now with a link in it. And that is a fast pass to get into all the action if you're a Legacy annual pass holder. And now that I think about it, how do they know you're a Legacy annual pass holder? Who knows? All right, let's get into our next topic here. Trading Post will be great. Can't wait for your vid. Thank you so much, Tony Mac. Cute Latin guy helps me out. February 19th, open for the Gin Pop. So there we go. There we go. All right, let's get started with our next topic. How to bust Disneyland rumors. So there's been something that's been kind of interesting to me. I admittedly have a learning disability where I was able to go to college for next to nothing because I qualified for something back in Kentucky for my learning disability. And we didn't really realize I had it until later in life. I've only read maybe 5 books in my whole life. Now, I can read. Obviously, I'm reading your comments here today, but I have no long-term digestion of content. Like if I read a whole page of a book, I'm like, I don't know what I just did. And then when it comes to my reading comprehension on reading instructions, I could not read like 10 steps to do something and then go do those 10 steps. I literally have to read a couple of words at a time and break down what it is. Now, because we learned this about me later in life, I learned sort of a defense mechanism of A, being a big talker, but B, trying to break things down so that I can understand what's going on. And I've talked about this in a couple of recent videos. And I'm like, right now, while we're kind of, waiting for the next shoe to drop on all the Disney stuff, I thought it'd be a fun time to show you guys how I break down the news, how I break down rumors, or how I break down an official statement from Kenny P. Rocks, president of the Disneyland Resort, and how my channel, I hope, has a level of like accuracy, credibility, and isn't like this emotional thing designed to make you angry or to make you mad. It's just not my thing. And that's largely why I got into the game, is because I just felt like this way of breaking down the news was largely missing. It's what I wanted to consume, and so therefore I decided I would make it. So my first heads up on reading any press release or reading any rumor is just stay calm and read on, right? Like I know so many people are living in sort of this agitated sense of self, right? Like everything is just like designed to make you mad, or Disney's a corporation that's trying to screw you over, and how dare you ruin my childhood. If Walt was alive right now, he'd die a second time. It's like, oh, calm down. You're a valued customer. They love your money and they love you to be at the park. So it's not designed to screw you over. It's not a conspiracy against you. In fact, it probably has very little to do about you. You're a pebble on the beach for the overall amount of sand that builds up Disneyland. So just stay calm and like read on, right? Like just like, okay, because I remember when we got the news about the annual pass program canceling, that was my biggest nightmare. And I felt like a pit in my stomach. I felt like I was going to throw up. I was like, oh no, this thing that I love is going away. But I stayed calm and I was able to decipher that message and see it's not as bad as it looks. It's actually could be a very positive thing. So this week, I did a video where I broke down the Disneyland rumor where Walt Disney World News Today, WDWNT.com. I'm going to get that one day fast. They did a whole thing saying Disneyland was going to reopen on March 14th. A lot of people took the bait. They ran with it. And largely because this is something that they want to happen. So they're willing to read anything if it somewhat resembles their hope in the future. But it's designed because you want that to happen. It's actually a trap. Tell the people what they want to hear. Say, well, we heard a rumor, but it wasn't from us. And therefore you can be we're innocent here. And you can feed into people's hopes and dreams. Now I'm going to say this as politely as possible. And I hope that I don't offend anybody and I use the proper language. But we all know that Disneyland captures a very wide range of people from all different economic backgrounds, but also, and I'm saying this as polite as I can, from all different mental capacities. And not every Disneyland guest has the tools to fully process everything that is told to them. And a lot of these guests, Disneyland is a way that they're able to communicate with the world, or it's a way that they see a version of the world that matches, where they're able to process. And I feel like as I've done this a little bit longer and I've met some really beautiful souls that just are absolute model citizens of Disneyland, they're often sadly the ones that get taken advantage of the hardest because they don't have the tools to decipher that it's a scam. So I will go on with this. All right. So here we go. I also was able to look at Kenny P. Rock's statement about the food festival and sort of break that down. And he never said food and wine. He said it's an all new thing. He never said food and wine, but so many people want food and wine to come back. They just say, oh, it's food and wine. But if you look at what Kenny P. Rock said, those words were never said. In fact, he went out of his way to say an all new experience. And then my digital Disneyland annual passes are coming back. Like I felt like I kind of got like a different vibe on things because I was reading things slower and not at such an emotional beat. So let me show you how I do it. First thing I do is I go line by line because that's all my brain can handle. I'm a low functioning adult. So I go line by line. And when I read a small line, instead of just breezing past it, I stop because my brain has to say, what did I just read? And what I do is I run the 5 W's over the data that I just ingested. Instead of just going on, a cast member said, well, if a cast member said it, it must be true. And I go on to the next thing. I go, a cast member said it. Who was this cast member? What did they say this? When did they say this? And where did they say this? If a cast member said Disneyland is reopening, well, who was this cast member? And what exactly did they say? When did they say it? And where did they say it? Why did this not go wide? If all the other news outlets aren't picking up on this, if my Google News alert that I have set up for Disney is not getting this, then why is this the only place that I'm reading the news? But a lot of people would say a cast member said, and they go, well, if it's a cast member, then it's got to be legit. And a lot of cast members have kind of got something a little bit wrong in the last week. So if you go line by line and sort of break down what is it that they're trying to say, I feel you can get a better read on what the news is. So let's take this. Disney ending its annual passes. All right, my cover is like, oh, look at me. Things are on fire. I mean, I'm desperate. I got a small channel. I need to get people in to watch videos. So I'm not above doing those type of thumbnails. But this is the video where I use this, where I talked about it first. And now enough time has passed that we can see how I broke down the news and I think got a really accurate read on where things were going. So due to the continued uncertainty of the pandemic, when I saw this line and I did the 5 W's, I said, okay, they're getting rid of annual passes because of this moment in time. It's not because they wanted to get rid of it. It's because they have to get rid of it. I hear a super chat in there somewhere. Also, limitations surrounding the reopening of our parks. AS, thank you for that super chat. Love you, bud. How are we going to navigate? When I read this, I said, okay, they know there's a pandemic. We got to cancel our AP. We also know there's going to be a restricted amount of people in the park. How are we going to navigate this? I didn't take anything in here personally. I read it from a business perspective and said they've got two major hurdles. What comes next is going to explain how they react to those hurdles. We're also excited about what lies ahead. I took that as, it ain't done, baby. We're back. They're going to figure out something else for us. They're going to use the downtime to fully figure out how to reboot the pass system, which is something that's now 40 years old. This was probably going to happen with or without a pandemic, but the pandemic, as we all know, it's sped up a lot of things that were probably going to happen anyway. So develop new membership offerings. Okay, they're using the word membership because if they say pass, it'll get your heart upset, but they are offering a new valued system and membership in there. A way to belong to something. So when I see the word member, I go, okay, that means there's a way to buy into a program where I'm going to get more Disneyland for my money. Utilize customer insights. They were going to scan and see what everybody wanted. And then those crazy extensive resort questionnaires went out to some people, not to me, weeks later. So this was all just basically telling you everything that was going to happen if you followed what they were saying. Deliver choice. Those surveys had such a deep breadth of choice in there to try to figure out the best way to handle this moment in history. And then flexibility. The Flex Pass. I was able to look at this and say, that word is in there because we're familiar with the Disney Flex Pass. And everything seems to be going to a Flex Pass situation, where the Flex Pass is a pretty good deal for the consumer and for the resort itself. So there's just so many different ways where I saw flexibility as a good thing and not as a negative thing because I was able to get all the math up to this moment. Then value for our biggest fans. Sometimes I have to look at one word and say value. Value means discount. Value means buy in bulk. We're going to take care of you. And who are their biggest fans? The people that go there all the time, spend all the money, and really, really support the park. The biggest thing I was able to pull from all of this, because this block of text, I can't read that. I don't know what that means by the time I get to the end of it. But going line by line, phrase by phrase, I was able to fully digest what they were saying. And the biggest takeaway, sunsetting the current program. Because I look at things in bite sizes, sunsetting to me said, he could have said canceled, ending, terminating. Sunset means there will be darkness. We are in said darkness, but the sun will rise again. So literally, when everybody else was like, how are they going to do this? How are they taking my childhood? How are they ruining this? I was like, hey, this is pretty good, right? Like we knew something weird was going to happen. They got a couple obstacles to get over with, and we're going to find our way back in. But outrage moves the needle. When a video makes you mad, it keeps you watching longer. Dusty Ray, you're insane. The chat has now officially been dusted. You have been dusted. Thank you, Dusty. I appreciate it. You are a madman, and I love you for it. So this is how I able to break things down. So when Kenny P. Rocks was going on his apology tour 2021 on behalf of Cute Latin Guy. He said a couple of things that people said, oh, this channel's getting clickbaiting. I'm like, it's not getting clickbaiting. I'm not a clickbait guy. If something's on the thumbnail, it is my responsibility to make sure it's in the video because I'm trying to grow here. And if I lie to you or I cheat to you, I've broken our bond. And then therefore, I'm not going to retain you as somebody on my channel. Kenny P. Rocks, the man in control, third down for the Disney parks, under the Bobs, under JD, says, if the answer was, we're reopening 4 weeks from now, I would probably tell you we're not going to be ready. Saying it's going to take us time to get a new pass system in place. So if you're expecting it to happen like in a month, it's not going to be ready. This is lowering down everybody's expectations. But if you told me that it was a little bit longer than that, our hope is to be ready. So when I said annual passes return, I didn't mean the literal same old annual pass return, because we don't know what the term is. But what I was saying is there will be a program that will be back. And this guy, Kenny P. Rocks, the Disneyland poet, the flirt, the gossip, he's telling you as the man who signs the paperwork, hey, it's our hope to have something ready when we reopen. Because does it make sense? Right? Do the life math on anything that you read. Does it make sense that a corporation would let 1 million, guessed 1 million, estimated 1 million annual pass holders just go on, be on your own, be free, pass holders, spend your money where you'd like? No, that doesn't make sense. See it in your mind. If you owned a business, could you imagine letting 1 million dedicated customers go about? No, you can't. So what you have to do is say, okay, life math, 2 big obstacles. Third big obstacle, program is sort of outdated. They're working on a way to bring everybody back, and they want us to be back as of like day one, because they know annual pass is perceived as value. Value is perceived as more visits. More visits is perceived or is realized or materialized as more spending. So, woo. There you go. That's how I take things. That's how I break it down for the channel. That's how I take big, complicated things and try to put a bit of realism in there. That's why I have started to add in my videos so that you know where I'm coming from. I will always show you a quote, and then I'll say what we don't know, right? Kenny's saying our hope is to be ready. Well, what we don't know is exactly what that date is. But then I will let you know by speculation, all would say they probably wanted to be as close to opening day as possible, because when Walt Disney World reopened, they had reservation system for their annual pass holders, and it went really, really great. And I don't think they want a lot of people to roll out too far on individual ticket buys and be like, what am I doing? This is a lot of money. And also, let's just call it the way it is. Some people might not enjoy what Disneyland is like in 2021. It might be too far away from their childhood or their great memories. But if you have them locked in for a year, they got a year to get used to it. They buy one ticket, they might not come back for 6 months. So it's a big gamble. So I've started to add this into my news videos to make it clear. This is what we know. This is what we don't know. And this is my speculation on where I'm guessing so that we can go. So I can't be accused of clickbaiting because I'm laying it all out for you. Oh, I get so passionate when I talk about Disney. All right, let's see what some of these comments are. Melissa says, I didn't have a flex pass, but my fiance and I always went for half days after work. I'm totally okay with a flex pass type membership. Awesome. I can fill you on that one right here. Let's see. Nikki says, San Gabriel Valley Tribune has an article quoting Christine McCarthy saying Disneyland will be closed until at least late March or early April. Yes. Nikki, thank you for bringing that up. They have already said, like, look, man, we know that we're still a couple of months off. And they have to say that because it doesn't take much for the passion to just get wild. For example, this video right here, where things got really, really off the rails on the rumor that it will be open by the 14th. And dude, I betted riding the swinging gondolas on this one. I do not ever want to ride the swinging gondolas. That's like the biggest wager that I can put on my reputation. But this is how it got out of control. A lot of people were like, hey man, my bud is a cast member who works in Disneyland and he's getting called back to work. Well, if you take a breath, stay calm and read on, and run the 5 W's and go through the whole thing, recall in each scheduling group will be by job classification in descending seniority order, regardless of location or job knowledge. So therefore, if your buddy, hey man, my buddy works over in Adventureland and he got asked to come back to work, so I'm pretty sure the 14th is real. It's by seniority. It's not by location. It's a union. A union believes first come, first serve. So what they're doing is when they said, Kenny P. Rocks, we're bringing 1,000 people back to work. They're just going down the seniority list, regardless of where you work in the resort. So when the DCA Food Fest opens up, they have done what the union wants to honor those that have seniority. That right there is where all of this got spun out, where people that worked in a certain location said, yeah, man, I'm going back, dude. We're back in there. And then boom, the world goes crazy. All right, there we go. Oh, scary Gary. I'm not getting on that swinging gondola, man. If you see me bet that on the channel, you know that I feel with pretty extreme confidence that I'm not getting sucked into that. Great E-Drinker says, you're definitely not clickbait. You explicitly state what you're speculating. I always come to you because you try your best to bring facts and then add your commentary. I appreciate that. And I'll let you know, I try to research my speculations. I try to base it on something that to me feels realistic, not just like, I'm speculating it will open tomorrow and it will be free to all. Like, what good is that going to do me? All right, man. So let's see here. Oh, Ryan, you're a swinger? Man, I am not a swinger. I am hetero, or not hetero. I'm what's the other word when you're not? What is it? What is it when you're dedicated to somebody? You know what I mean? Monogamous. I'm a monogamous gondola guy. I'm not, I don't go back and forth. I don't go both ways. All right. Oh, come on, man. Don't tell people to shut up. Can Disneyland open in April? Speculation says too soon. Too soon. I really think that we would be looking at somewhere around June or July at the earliest, just because we have a lot of distance. We have a lot of distance to cover before we're ready. I think that's where we're at. I think that's where we're at. All right. Let me run one of our valuable ad sponsors, take a drink, and then we'll be right back.
Hey, did you know that now Southern Californians get into Disneyland for just $26?
Cool hair, dude.
Southern Californians get into Disneyland for only $26. It's just too good to pass up.
Oh, forgot to take a drink. Melissa, that is my speculation that somehow the stars will align and that Disneyland will reopen July 17th. I've been thinking that since about last, I think probably since like last August, but I don't know. That date is feeling a little bit tight right now. We'll see. All right, Dusty, thank you for super chatting on behalf of everybody. I think everybody in here today has been adopted by Dusty Ray today. We are getting dusted hard in a bit of a cash storm. So I always appreciate the... Why won't this camera stay focused? It's driving me nuts. Don't forget, Club 1313 members, if you have a comment or question, you have the Fast Pass over in our members Discord, and you can always get straight to me, straight to the front of the line, right? A $26 ticket. Now, what they didn't say in that commercial, Great Eat and Drinker, is that's a split day pass, right? You only get half the day for that price. We're getting dusted. We're getting dusted today. All right, let's move over to our next topic. Food Festival. So the Food Festival is something I think everybody is getting pretty pumped up for. It will be awesome to have an event that feels somewhat like old times. I'm kind of predicting that the Food Festival will go more in the direction of a after dark event where you will pay a set amount of money, and for that amount of money, you will get access. But I want to know right now in the chat, what do you folks think? Do you feel like they will shut down all of DCA? So on set nights, like it'll close at 4 o'clock or whatever for the food event that will happen? Or do you think they'll break it off into two tiers where the Buena Vista Street district that we're familiar with, that would still be open to anybody that walks in, but you would need a ticket to go through Grizzly Peak and then access the rest? I'd love to hear what you folks think, if it will be all or a 1 or a 2-tier system. And you can just drop a 1 in the chat for all of it, or 2 if you believe it would be a 2-tier system. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Cute Latin guy says, I still have an old ticket stubs from the 90s when around $25 admission prices. Man, if you look back at, they do these charts all the time in like the OC Register or Mice Chat where they show you what the tickets have cost over the years. It is a pretty significant spike that it got up to. All right, I got some people over here talking to me now. Megan says a 2-tier, leaving the front open. Cute Latin guy says all of DCA. Sammy Land says they should close it off just to justify a high price. And I assume they'll charge. Oh, yeah, they'll be charging. Let's see here. Nikki says 2-tier. Scott says if the price is right, if the ticket event covers what would be made. Okay. Veronica says 2. Nikki is a 1. Seems like most of you guys are going for a 2 square. My friend Nerd Squared, how you doing? Says 2. David says, I hope the reservations are non-transferable. You're going to have people sitting online just waiting to gobble up everything available and then sell them to the highest bidder. Hope they have a plan. Can you resell a Disneyland reservation? Like, isn't it all tracked to your annual pass or to your app or in your credit card, right? Like when you reserve something, that'll be interesting to see if that happens. Let's see here. Dusty Ray. Just getting dusted. Just a cash storm. Oh, I can't make my way through all this cash. Let's see. Ryan says, I can see opening the pier for some dining. Jeff says that it would be a 2. Man, a lot of you are really thinking that the front part will stay open. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Tommy says 1. Crystal says 1. Cute Latin guy says too much work to split it. Makes more sense to close all of DCA and charge 1 admission. I could see that. Although the logistics of just having the food festival at 2 turnstiles would mean that they could literally just open the event at that time. I would assume that if they had to kick everybody out of the yellow tier, they would probably want to also like put some vibes in that tier so you can immediately realize, oh, we spent money. It's different than when we came here for free. I don't know. I think I could see an efficiency in just having it gated off and just be like, all right, tonight's one of the food festival nights. Let's just open the gate and let people in. Dusty Ray says all of the resort. He goes for the 1 system. Oh my Lord. A lot of messages hiding in there. Tony says 2, including the Chinese restaurant. Man, I can't wait for the Chinese restaurant to reopen in Hollywood Boulevard. Veronica says, I used to get $25 tickets through work in 2008-ish. Veronica, let's get in the time machine and go back to your old job. JT says 2 tiers. Access point on the parade route and heading through the wharf with eating in front of World of Color patio. Yeah, I seem to think that'll be the way, but I think that the actual, kind of weatherman point, I think that the actual way that you will enter will be through here. That's hard to do. I think you will enter in on... I'm drunk. Just go the opposite, Brickey. Yeah, I have to read things in small bites and I have to move my finger in slow motion. But I think that you'll actually enter on the Grizzly Peak side because there's not a lot happening over there. And that gives them a lot of room to have a line. And that probably somewhere around San Francisco Street, which kind of gets pretty good. San Francisco Street's right there. So the queue would snake back on that path. And San Francisco Street would be where you would enter. And then, yeah, I think that a lot of that would be open for hanging out. The Chinese restaurant is sort of a live stream inside joke. Oh, man. Yeah, I miss World of Color too. Let's see here. So these are some of the areas that I said would be possible as stages. So when we think about this, Kenny P. Rocks flirted with us. He'll never just tell us what's up. He always has to flirt. But he said that there'd be lots of entertainment. So entertainment to me said, okay, where have they used stages in the past? So it seems like the Paradise Gardens area would be a no-brainer to open up because the total mass of seating, and there's also those little performance gazebos over there, so that could just set up a really, really nice vibe. And man, that's pretty deep in the resort. Melissa says if they're going to do a 2-tier, would they have guests enter through the Grand Californian turnstiles? I don't think so, right? Like that is a really good idea. Would they have people go through the Grand California turnstiles? But I think, Melissa, why they probably wouldn't do that is you have to go indoors through the hotel to get there. And I think right now they're trying to do as many things as possible as outdoors. That's why I'm believing they would use the eastern half of Grizzly Peak as, you know, you're out there in the woods. It's that windy path. There's plenty of space. I feel like that's where they would queue you up. I feel like that would be the area where they would do it. Okay, so then the next stage that we have that I feel like is another no-brainer because of its proximity and how big it is and how much they've used this space before. There's that stage that they put right at the edge of where the bridge starts to take you over to the pier, but down on, you know, sort of the stairs or the steps where we get to watch World of Color. That area, if there's no World of Color, I mean, and there won't be, I would seriously doubt they would do that. They haven't done any of the nighttime shows out on the East Coast, and that's kind of what I model a lot of my guesstimating for the West Coast on. But that area right there, right, that plaza that we stand in to watch World of Color, that would make a phenomenal dining area, right? Like you could put so many tables and cafe chairs in there and let people hang out. Obviously, they'll have the Mickey Fun Wheel illuminated, whether that half of the pier is open or not. And that could just be like a really, really nice place where you could work your way down through all the food offerings. And then, you know, that could be one of the destinations where you get to eat, not on a garbage can. Let's see here. Veronica says, all right, Believe in Magic. What did Believe in Magic say? Believe in Magic said they have to spread the booths out more because the regular food events get too congested. Yes, I definitely agree with you that this will be spaced out. But as I said in the video, this could be the best food festival that DCA or Disney has ever kicked off because there's no attraction distractions, right? Like, you don't have to worry about like, well, we can't put people there because that blocks the flow for the Incredicoaster, or we can't put people there because that's going to block, you know, people coming in and out of, you know, Ariel, or, I mean, you know, guys, I mean, they might be able to put tables. This is crazy. They might be able to seat people around the Zephyr or the Jumping Jellyfish, where we all know normally there's like a Rise of the Resistance type of line all around those attractions. So I do believe that the fact that they're not competing with, you know, what people really love about the park, the attractions, they'll have a way more generous footprint to put us all in there nice and safe. Bethany says, do we see cavalcades? Woo, woo, woo. Bethany, I think you might. I mean, it depends on the price point, right? But if they're going to go full on hard ticket event, and you're paying to get in, I have a feeling that we might see a couple of characters or a cavalcade. And Bethany, I think that might be one of the entertainment offerings, but I'm very curious where that would run because the parade route or the performance corridor is where the food booths generally are. So it'll be interesting to see, can you run a socially distanced food festival and a cavalcade type thing at the same time? And then cavalcade would definitely put it over to just being one zone, right? Because in the 2-tier system, the cavalcade would be like, now we're going to turn around and go right back the way that we came, because they would need the entire loop to do that. All right. I want to thank Jeff Pike, my admin, for taking care of me today and help promote everything. And I want to thank people over in the Club 1313 Fast Pass. Let's see here. Mr. Rat says, would they let you go through the Grand California through the hotel? Would it still be closed? Yeah, we'd already sort of talked about that from somebody over here. And then Nikki says, do you think that they might do that mini water show in the bay that they do every 15, 30 minutes in the past during the day, or just a little water show for the aesthetic? You know, that's not a bad idea, Nikki. They might just kind of like have some of the fountains on just to put an ambiance out in the water. And that could be something of what Kenny P. Rocks was flirting with. Excuse me, friends. I'm going to take a drink. Dusty Ray says, I've rock groups up to 25 people at a time because I have a cast member. They don't care. Trust me. All right. Dusty, thank you for being you, the dust storm, the dust man. When are we going to start doing group meetups? We will start doing group meetups when things are back to normal. I don't want to get in any kind of social distancing trouble. Right now, when you go to the resort, they want you to stay with the people that you showed up with. So the 1313 meetups will happen when we resume to normalcy. That's my game plan. So dusted. Bethy Lee, how about characters on the famous balconies? Oh, I do think, Bethy Lee, I think some characters in, non-accessible areas, there could be a couple of those just to add that. And it's going to feel so good to see the characters. And I'd love to give Bethy Lee a shout out. On my video that I did this week where I was breaking down the rumor, she said, hey, I just can't give this video a thumbs up. And I just want to tell you guys this. I love when you come on and say, why doesn't this channel get enough love? Or this is where I go for my Disneyland news. Like that gives me the momentum to keep going. But when my regular viewers and my regular commenters sort of say, Brickey, I don't see it this way, or I don't like your tone in this one, I appreciate that. Like I don't need it to always be a love fest. I also don't want to be trolled to death, but I do appreciate having a honest exchange with all of you. And, you don't just have to tell me the videos you like. You can tell me what you don't like about some of the other videos. And I will definitely not try to be defensive. And I will try to digest what it is that you're saying. It's still my channel. I got to run it the way I see fit. But I do love reading all the comments, whether they are like, hey, you nailed it, or I don't know this time. So Bethy Lee, thank you for feeling like you could be honest with me. I appreciate that. Sammy Land says they should put characters on the monorail bridge. Woo! Yeah, I would love that. On the Hyperion Bridge, just doing that friendly wave that they do. Love that so much. All right, let's keep exploring some of these stages we have here with the time that we have remaining. To me, I think once we get off the beaten path, Pixar Pier, I'm trying to figure out, like, do they open Pixar Pier? It can be a little bit narrow at time. There are some food booths over there. There is that little performance area in front of the Pixar Promenade, those two doors that one day, I hope open up into a Pixar themed dark ride. But it'll be very interesting to see if the pier gets opened or if the pier is just used for a backdrop, right? Like, would they just use the backdrop as the pier as a backdrop, and maybe across the bay is where we see some of the characters, right? Like, could you just imagine if you just looked over and they're like waving at you on the other end of the bay? Like, yeah, that's got me feeling the magic, just imagining it in my mind's eye. Nikki says they can do food festival on March 16th or March 14th or April 13th. All right. I don't know if those dates are signaling something. Sorry, I don't understand that one. All right. Let's see here. Dusty Ray. Dusty Ray is freshly baked leftover baking from dust from the brick oven. Wow, that one just rolls off the tongue. I heard, Dusty Ray, that you were giving me shout outs in the Thursday night Fresh Bake live stream. And this is what I say to you. There's What's Happening Wednesdays with Best Life and Beyond. There's Fresh Bake Dave on Thursdays. And then there's me on Fridays, the 13th hour, to send you off into your weekend. So, I mean, if you're looking for Disneyland live streams, you have a lot of options. I'm glad that you choose mine as one of them. Stephanie Suarez says, agree, Phil Pixar Pier is not essential, but nice to have. Yeah, brick ovens. I like that. I love that. And then I believe that we'll also see that stage over in the Pacific Wharf area. Like, that's just once again, that's a no-brainer. That's an area that's designed for seating and eating. But then the last one is Cars Land. What do you guys think? Will they open Cars Land? It's sort of the most prestigious land. It's the pride of DCA. The road is a little bit narrow. I don't know that they would do cafe seating down one side of the road like they have done over in Grizzly Peak. I'd love to be able to measure, is Route 66 the same width as the Grizzly Peak runway? Would love to know. Runway 33, or I can't remember what the number there is, but it's a runway. I'd love to know, could they do that? And they have before put a stage where at the top end of where Route 66 crosses Cross Street. So they could put a stage there, which would be very picturesque with the little city hall area behind it. And that would also just create like a nice hard barrier of nobody can go beyond this point because they don't want people, wandering up to the attractions. Although at Disneyland, a rope or piece of masking tape will hold back the masses. But I guess a big X factor is, have they removed, and I'm assuming they've removed the walls for Avengers Campus. And they could easily put walls back up, but that would be an interesting area, because then we're starting to get a little bit too close to the big reveal that they have up their sleeve for when things reopen here. Melissa says they've been testing the lights. Maybe. Yeah, I caught the lights on one of the late night live streams. And I was like, whoa, that's awesome. Any speculation Sunday, fire it up. All right, man. Let's see what else we got here. Laura Jean says Pixar Pier lit up last night. Yeah, sometimes when you're out in your parking, when you're heading out to your car, you can see that they have the fun wheel illuminated. I don't even know what's going on with Prince Aladdin. He seems like a wild one there. Dusty's out of here. Dusty, thank you so much for showing up. Thank you for spreading the love. Thank you for supporting the channel, man. I appreciate that you have the means to do so, and that you do so. It was so nice to get to hang out with you and your woman on Monday. Hope to rip the park again with you soon, bud. That will be coming in the future. It's just not set up just yet, Dusty Ray, but I do appreciate you thinking of sharing Club 1313 with others. And by the way, club1313.com, that is sort of, it's like a Patreon, but it's more of a community, because that's how I want to build the channel, with a community, and Dusty Ray is one of my founders. So I appreciate that. So ultimately, what we do is we end up with a Mickey shape of DCA, 3 different tiers. I think 1 is guaranteed. I mean, we better have number 1 open to us. Number 2, I feel like Pixar Pier is in play, and I feel like Cars Land is sort of the one that might be the wildest. I think Prince Aladdin is giving Jeff Pike a run for his money on his first day on the job. Oh, I love it. I love that I don't have to deal with it. Delegation. So there you go. It's a little bit of a quiet week, but I believe that there are big things on the horizon. What you'll see from me coming up this week is I'll be live streaming Tuesday out of the park. I'll be dropping a standalone video on Wednesday showing you my experiences at the new trading post. And then, we'll also do a perimeter tour. We haven't done our February perimeter tour yet, and a lot has changed in DCA. The perimeter tour is where I go around the entire outer edge, everywhere that you can walk. I film it all, and then I show you anything that has changed over the last month. And we'll do a special 1313 or 13th hour next Friday. So if you're enjoying my channel and you say, man, why doesn't this channel have more likes? Well, you could change that. You could subscribe today. You could ring the bell so you can see when I do one of my many live streams. And if you want to support the channel, if you have the means to, you can go to club1313.com. You can become a member of Club 1313, where as of in a few minutes, we're going to be meeting over there and just sort of do a little quick hangout, talk a little bit of Disneyland, and get to hear everybody else's opinions on the news. So friends, I want to thank you for spending this Friday with me. I had a lot that I wanted to get through, and I love seeing all your comments, and I kept looking over and it looked like, man, they're just having a conversation all to themselves. So if you had fun today, please give this video a thumbs up. If you see it posted later on, maybe you could backtrack and leave a comment and let somebody know that you had a good time. All of those things will help me grow the tiniest little channel that there ever was, but got a lot of heart, got a lot of ambition. So friends, until the next time I see you at the DCA Food Festival or at the Star Wars Trading Post on Tuesday, I'll see you back here on the channel with more Disneyland news. Thank you so much for hanging out in the chat. Thank you so much for watching my content. And thank you even more for subscribing to the channel. I sincerely appreciate it. If you're a Club 1313 member, I'll see you in like 5 minutes. I'm going to get a drink. I might use the little boys' room. And then I'll see you over in the clubhouse where we're going to hang out and talk some shopping. Try to make the end of your work week go by a little bit faster. Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend. I will see you back on the channel Monday with more Disneyland news.